Gamade.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Barnabas Gamade, to represent Benue Northeast and Third District. Mr. President, I rise on account of Order 42, matter of urgent public importance. And I would also like to add Order 52, dispensing of notice. May I read, Mr.
Go ahead.
Matter of urgent public importance. The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting. And the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. And Order 52, notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President, sir, I rise on these two orders to raise a matter which is very critical in the security arena of this nation. We may be sounding like broken records, but this is a matter that I need to keep bringing up, like Zamfara does, like Taraba does, like Kaduna does, and like Nasarawa State does. And I think it's a matter that we must continue to attempt to give medicine to, since the sickness is not yet over. Just 2 days ago, about 7 people were killed in Kwande local government of my senatorial district, and many others wounded, and several homes were also burnt.
Just a second. Senator Gamade, the English Coalition, Gamade has come on Order 42 and 52. According to our rules, I need to take the leave of us to take this motion. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Carry on, Senator Gamade.
Thank you, Mr. President. Following from that event, which is almost like a daily occurrence now, in my we are under siege of an unknown satanic force, which has gone under several names. People say armed herdsmen, others say bandits, others say rustlers, whatever name they may be called. We know that there are faceless people that are fully armed, that are killing our people, maiming our women and children, destroying our farms, burning homes, and the matter is endless. But alas, while we are looking up to government for protection, and indeed looking up to security agencies for protection, we get so dismayed by the attitude of those who lead these security forces. Yesterday, there was a national security meeting, a meeting which is presided over by no less a personality than the Commander-in-Chief of the nation. And all the leaders of security agencies were present. We don't know what they discussed in that meeting, because it is always a closed meeting as far as security matters are concerned. But after the meeting, the Minister of Defense, Malam Dan Ali Mansour, came out and made a statement. And in that statement, he said that the states of Benue and Taraba that have enacted the law on anti-grazing must remove that law. And it was very strange to me that in the mind of the Minister of Defense of this nation, the only way he can solve the problem of hundreds and thousands of people being killed in the state of Benue and Taraba is that the law they made against open grazing of cattle, where you cannot control the conflict between herdsmen and farmers, should be removed, so that whatever semblance of a law to keep law and order should be removed, so that anarchy can go on as it was the case before. Mr. President, we know that the legislature has sole responsibility of making laws for good governance of the entity for which they represent. Just like the National Assembly makes laws for the nation, the state assemblies are empowered by the Constitution to make laws for the states. We also have enshrined in the grand norm of laws in Nigeria, which is the Constitution, a land use decree, a land use act. That land use act vests the power of adjudication on land and management of land in the state governors for and on behalf of the people of the state. And therefore, the law made by a state legislature on how to manage land resources and how to ensure that those land resources are shared between the people who need it. We know that farmers need the land. We know that herders need the land. But there must be a way where a law should be enacted to ensure that each person that is using the land does so according to law. But here is a minister who came out and said that that law should be removed. And this is not the first time we hear this kind of absurd statement coming from no less a personality than the Minister of Defense. And if a Minister of Defense is calling for anarchy, where else can we find defense? Where else can we find succor from what is happening? We understand, since he appeared before us here, that that minister comes from Zamfara State. And I wonder if all the killings in Zamfara that are almost equivalent to the ones of Benue are also as a result of an anti-grazing law. And if by his own experience, the killings in Zamfara have nothing to do with anti-grazing law, why does he believe that killings in Benue and Taraba State are because they enacted the law? These killings have been on for 7 years before the law came into operations. So what was responsible for the killings at that time? And now the killings in Zamfara have not ceased, and yet they have not made a law on anti-grazing. We think that this republic is being misadvised by those who have been given appointments to take responsibility for the good governance of this nation. And therefore, they must be called to order. And my motion, Mr. President, sir, is that apart from giving our usual 1 minute silence for the disease, which is probably the only thing that we have available within our power to do, since we are not in the executive branch, we must also advise the Minister of Defense to promptly withdraw that statement and advise whichever body he claims has approved that request that he has now brought to the public domain. I so submit, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator John Eno.
Mr. President, my name is John Oneno, Cross River Central. Mr. President, I think this matter is quite a straightforward matter. I mean, it's logical. I mean, if killings have gone on and have been going on for the past 7 years, and the enactment of the anti-grazing law, whether by Benue, whether by Taraba, whether by Kitty or whatever, hasn't been for more than the last 1 year or so. What it means is that having to go against the anti-grazing law will not be the solution to the killings that are going on. That means the anti-grazing law is not the reason why the killings are taking place in these states. And I think that it's just most unfortunate But after a high-level security meeting that took place yesterday, the only thing that could come out of such a meeting would be the statement presented to the defense minister about the anti-grazing law. So it remains unfortunate that there is still no solution yet. There is still no appropriate response yet to what is going on in this country. I mean, you begin to wonder, is the idea to protect the herdsmen, or the idea to see whether we can find a lasting solution to the continuous and incessant killings of people, of Nigerians? So I think that the security apparatus of this country must look beyond and go beyond a mere reaction or response to the enactment of anti-grazing law. And I think this is a matter that I'm going to request that as a parliament, as a senate, we need to rise above whatever other primordial considerations to respond to this matter in the manner that it is. And what is it? That the anti-grazing law in Benue, in Taraba, or whatever state that has been enacted is not the reason why there is continuous killings of innocent Nigerians. And that the government, the security apparatus, must look for some other reasons and some other solution to what we're experiencing as a concern. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Bocha.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Emmanuel Bocha. I represent Taraba South. Mr. President, I am happy because if it comes to matter of killings across the nation, this Senate adopts a bipartisan approach because of the sanctity of life. This morning, Mr. President, I wanted to draw our attention to the report I received from my constituency, all in respect of killings. It is very ridiculous to have associated these killings